on RSG SG that can kind of just tag onto, Upa, try to get the stacks off. And in the meantime, you got Fskn also looking really good with the 1-1. You can kind of stack onto the Barats. So I think it works for both sides, but it does look like Fskn might just settle on that Brody. And yeah, no surprises there. Like Brody, really busty MM, really good into the late game. But here's the question: can Fskn bring it into the late game though?
Yikes, that is the thing. I think that their Estes is pretty much their way of saying we are going to bring this to the late game. Estes does have decent amount of early game potential, and that is kind of why they had more early game sided, more roam potential coming in from Chang'e, Estes, as well as the Popol and Koopa. Popol and Koopa understandably will be holding on to his own lane. We've got Chang'e as well as Estes in the middle lane together with Brody. These triple threat of marksman and double mage, or rather mage and support, should be able to enable them to move around a little bit just so more often, and might be able to get themselves out of Jawhead's grasps.
Yeah, my concern for Fskn would obviously be the fact that a lot of their heroes are very squishy onto the front line. Yes, you do have an Estes, but on the other hand, RG actually also has a Rafaela, which I would have preferred if Fskn picked up for themselves, but I'm sure they have a game plan already in their head. So let's kick off the first game of the day. It's going to be RG Ashley against Fskn.
Oh, this is gonna be like, and it does seem like Flash, Bao, and Kai heads to the middle lane. Instead of the fact that Estes goes to the middle, that is completely, that is half correct. But Chang'e takes on to his own lane instead. So a little bit of a switcheroo from what I originally expected, but this is completely acceptable as well. Down in the bottom lane, we'll be looking at the Paquito fighting against Barats, while in the top lane, we'll be expecting to see that Bane fighting against Chang'e. And did I say it right? LY4 as the carry, yes. As well as Forza onto the side lane, yes. Sync on the side lane, yes.
Yeah, Forza is going to be playing that, tank
Jawhead
of some sort. Yeah, that roaming tank as the Jawhead. You got Sana playing that support role. Forza doing really well with the troll.
Oh, Jason heads to the side lanes.
No, Jason's going to be the Isun Shin.
Right? Jason,
Jason's going to be the Bane.
Pardon
me. But here we see RSG just trying to put a little early pressure onto the Paquito. That's what you want. They're going to get the first blood through Forza with the smart missiles. As expected, coming out from the Jawhead pick, putting a lot of pressure onto the early game. A bit of a mispositioning for Evil C. Didn't really spot the roam, but that's what you get when you're going up against Jawhead. And once again, Sana and Forza invading onto the blue buff.
Doesn't seem like things are looking pretty well for Fskn as Forza, for the side of RSG, as Forza immediately walks himself right into the brush, only for him to get completely melted down. Sync is going to be the next one in line. Kai HP is down low. He gets himself right out, but unfortunately the flame shot did not... That wasn't a flame shot, was it? But either way, none of that pretty much worked out for them. There wasn't really a lot of kills that is able to emanate out of that previous fight. It is a 1-for-1 with the total given away to the side of RSG. A great start so far, rather dominating when it comes to map control. But for Fskn, they are on a little bit more of a passive gameplay. And looking at the side of Evil C's battle spell pickup, he went for the Purify instead of a Flicker, something that I was expecting to be a Flicker instead, because it would increase their aggression on the side of Fskn, just so that they have more control of the side lanes, whereby Evil C flickers in, double knockout punch. It should be able to provide them with enough amount of burst as well as CCs, but he went for Purify instead, and the Purify probably only gets himself right out of sync as well as Forza's grasps.
You see invade coming up for RSG Ashley there. Isun Shin, a very powerful early game MM. Pretty much just, deal damage from afar with the Blood Floods. Didn't really need to put himself there in too much trouble. And we can see RSG Ashley kind of just take the first 5 minutes of the game. It's pretty tight in terms of the queues 1-1, but in terms of net worth, RSG Ashley just edging in slightly. You're going to see Bao just try to stick onto Sana over there, but he's going to back off immediately. Sing coming in, a little bit out of position, but Fskn, no, it's going to take too much resources just to try to bring down that Barat, so they're just going to back off a little bit. And this is going to give RG Edgy so much space. He's just going to be able to, push onto the top lane. And I fear for Fskn Abstract. I don't really know whether or not they can scale quick enough, because you got this Kai that's building onto the tank items first, and expectedly so, right? You need the brute force armor. He's already got a lot of damage on his kit. But here we go. He's going to complete his first jungle item while RSG still knocking on the doors of Fskn. Look at that. Look at the map control RSG. They know that the turtle is coming up in 10 seconds, and they're immediately taking control of the entire area.
You're not gonna care about Fskn. It is literally in your face kind of the gameplay. While every single one of RSG, they hold their ground. They understand that Fskn is definitely gonna try to contest for this, where all of Fskn, or rather 4 members of Fskn, just gonna be jumping right on top of Forza. Forza going straight down, unfortunately. But there we go. It does seem like LY4 just dropping down. All of the ultimate is just gonna be pretty much painful. The shot is pretty painful as well. But Flash takes himself away out of the equation with a simple flicker right out of the vicinity, with Sana going straight down. That is going to be a pretty good fight for the side of Fskn. They lost the turtle, yes, but they did manage to take 2 kills for themselves. But none of those kills are onto the cores. It is on Jawhead as well as the Rafaela.
For Fskn, every single kill matters here. It's all about keeping RSG in check. They cannot allow, the favorites in this matchup to just try to scale out of proportion. We've seen the average game time, and I think Fskn, as of now, still doing pretty decently, but they need to do so much more. They can't afford to get caught out in too many scenarios. Here we see RSG as she's setting up the fight. They secure the turtle first, and then the blood floods come out. Fskn just trying to get whatever kill they can. They have the Asters with the healing to keep themselves sustained in the fight, but the moment the sharks get released, look at how quickly Flash drops. But still, very good positioning coming up from EvilC to try to spot out Sana from a good, I would say, tough position, in fact.
Not a big of a deal just yet. RSG is looking at about 2,000 gold advantage, while Fskn, well, on the vice versa side, they're losing quite a bit. They didn't have a single turret taken down just yet. Bottom lane for RSG. So the bottom lane control of the jungle is going to go pretty darn bad for the side of Fskn. The next turtle is just going to be popped right down at the bottom again. So RSG should have a decent amount of control down in the southern side. EvilC, wherever he goes, it does seem like he's meeting some kind of adversaries. Forza pumps himself right out, ensure that he's going to be safe and sound for now. Fskn just going to be jumping right in and all-out aggression. EvilC a little bit too far ahead, but I believe that he does have the Bloodlust X to enable him to survive a little while longer, but Sync immediately tosses EvilC into his mouth and out again with 1-for-1 trade. Fskn is pretty happy with what they have gotten so far, getting a kill on the Sync, immediately backing off. Unfortunately, their main mission, which is to defend the first tier turret, was not, well, a success.
And that's why they picked up the Barrats there. Abstract, such a tanky front line, no matter how hard they try to bring him down, they can't burst him down fast enough. They even managed to pick up a kill onto EvilC. So I think RSG actually is doing a really good job here in terms of objectives, and straight away, after taking that first tier turret onto the top lane, they're immediately going onto the turret. Look at that. And Fskn in a very bad spot. Here comes Double coming in with the ultimate, tries to break Forza down, but look at how tanky RSG is, especially with Sana there. And Sync already joining back for the fight from the previous death onto the top lane. Fskn somehow still trying to stick in a kill. Forza caught out of position. Can they get the stun in? Can Brody break him down fast enough? No, they can't. And here comes EvilC coming off the back line. They're trying to go for the turtle steal, but LY4 will secure the kill over there. And now comes in with the ultimate. EvilC dropping really low. They have to back off really quickly. Brody with the ultimate down. No kills from either side, but RSG once again coming up on top in terms of objective.
Fskn is really trying to do whatever that they can just to ensure that they try to, well, defend the objectives, or rather challenge the objectives, but none of which, well, went well. They are trying their very best to hold their own, but they're just playing a little bit more defensively. They are not able to play it aggressively because of where they are standing at right now. 3,000 gold deficit for Fskn. They have lost the turret in top, lost the turret in bottom, and when it comes to turtle, they have lost 3 turtles already. So they know that they are behind. They can't just play recklessly. They can't just nosedive every single one of their heroes into the pool of RSG, because that is just going to spell doom for them.
And it's going to be even harder for Fskn now to break down RSG's side. Sana just managed to pick up the Necklace of Defiance, and not only that, we already see LY4 gearing up for the Blade of Despair. Sync just managed to pick up his Brute Force armor. So all of those coming into the next team fight is going to play such a huge part. It's going to be even harder to break down RSG. And not only that, Fskn's healing through the Estus is going to be affected greatly.
This power spike from RSG is going to, well, guarantee their next 5v5 win, right? The amount of items that picked up by RSG is already twofold more than Fskn in terms of materialized item. Until Fskn gets themselves the next item build up, then they will be able to engage themselves into the next fight in order to kind of tally out the playing field. If Fskn takes a fight right now, they are just going to be completely disintegrated, completely shattered, and the snowball will continue from this point of time. And I can understand that. RSG is trying to get themselves more fights in. They're trying to go for the aggressive, but they are unable to do so because they had to defend top a little bit. They have to spread out all of their forces to ensure that they stay in control throughout the entire Land of Dawn.
I think if Fskn want to look for a fight, the time is now. Bane's still clearing up on the top lane, but he's going to be joining in the fight very soon. Diablo, or rather EvoC, not seem to be here. Not being able to find an angle to go in. Sing now clearing up those bushes. EvoC coming in, finds Jason in a bad spot, but here comes the rest of RSG to support him. They can use the Isushin's ultimate just to secure the positioning of Fskn. They find Forza in a bad position, but they can't break him down fast enough. Here comes Barat. He's going to use the teamwork to just try to suck them up. They knock two members down, Kai goes down, and without the Brody, they don't have enough damage. Bao setting running for his turrets. Can he get on time? Yes, he can, but that just means that Fskn will have to give up the Lord.
This is going to be a 10-minute Lord. So, not enhanced, they won't be expecting a charge right on top of the turret in the bottom lane. But, understandably, they will still be able to get a decent amount of push down in the middle as well as top as long as they push it in unison. The main point is to bring down more turrets and not to break down the inhibitor turret. RSG should have a decent amount of confidence that's riding in between of their shoulders. They should be pretty happy with what they have gotten so far. The amount of objective taken is constantly on an uphill climb, is an uptrend, not a consolidation in any case at all. Fskn toss out a lot of their ultimate. I saw that double knockout punch that EvoC tried to do, trying to make a little bit of space in between of the team fights. We've got double that even popped up with his meteor shower, but to no avail. And thus, because of all of that, RSG knows that in a grand scheme of things, the entire team fight itself, they shouldn't be too afraid.
Yeah, they're going to be bringing down the Lord very quickly through the meteor shower, but we just saw Double pick up his glowing wand. That's going to be super important in the next team fight. But RSG is still marching on, using the super minion waves that they get with the Lord to push up. And here comes Jason. Oh, the ultimate. How much damage does it do? Bao immediately going down. LY4 coming in from the side. But here comes Forza looking for an ejector. They don't even need it. They completely zoned out Forsaken members from that turret. And now they're knocking onto the base. Can RSG have one more team fight? They lost Sana, and that's going to be the lack of sustain. They know that without the Rafaela, they can't break in as smoothly as with Sana in their lineup, so they're just going to back off for now. But once again, Jason just going to throw out the ultimate there just to clear up the ways of Fskn. EvoC going to do his job to clear up the last siege turret, or rather siege minion.
Yep. At this point of time is nothing that RSG could not handle. Every single one of the exterior turret has now been destroyed, and now is more about suffocating Fskn, ensuring that they have no creeps for themselves, no jungle for themselves, and RSG, they have, well, is pretty much free real estate. They can farm anywhere, they can farm everywhere, take control of the lanes, take control of the jungles, and even take the Lord for themselves. With only 2 minutes left onto the clock, by 14 or 15 minutes in, it should be game over.
I'm quite surprised to see that none of the members of Fskn have yet to pick up any anti-healing equipment of any sort.
Oh, no NODs?
Yeah, there's no NODs on both the Asters as well as the Chang'e. And yes, I do recognize the fact that they're trying to go for pure damage, trying to burst down RSG's heroes fast enough. But look at that. Look at the amount of burst and sustain that's coming off from RSG's side. EvoC not even being able to scratch Sync with that punch. And this is a very big concern, because if RSG can just free roam there, no anti-healing on the side of Fskn, they can just constantly use Sana to heal up the members on the side of RSG. And with Boras being such a tanky fighter, he's just going to be able to heal up everything in an instant.
So the way the RSG is playing is to ensure that they have a strong front line, to ensure that the Paquito is unable to do anything despite all of the knockout punches, because you can expect that 3 knockout punches can be delivered via the Paquito as long as the combo itself works well. And that is well over 3 seconds of CCs whereby you are unable to do anything. You're being pushed, you're being knocked up, and that is just what RSG is scared of. And thus, it does seem like the Barats as well as, actually mostly Barats, right? Mostly Barats is the one that's eating that knockout punch, and it really tickles him. All RSG need to do, get Sana, Holy Healing in, they are all back on track, and they are all A-OK.
Yeah, the only person that at this point in time that the Paquito can really catch out is the Rafaela. But look at the positioning of Sana. He's constantly either behind the jaw hit or the Barats in team fight. So it's going to be super tough for Fskn to even pick off any members of RSG. They do finally pick up the NOD, so that is a plus, but they've still yet to get any control of any sort. You see the blue buff just getting stolen by Jason down there. And yeah, I think for Fskn, they just need to ride this one out. They just need one good team fight before they get back into the game. But as things stand, RSG is not going to give them that fight.
I don't think that one team fight is enough. They will be able to open up the playing field a little bit, like, kind of open up the field, enable them to farm out the lanes just by a little bit as well. But in order to get themselves like truly back in the game, probably 2 or 3 fights. But because of the post takedown of the Lord, this is where RSG says no, and they want to go straight in. Evil C completely isolated from the rest of the team from the side of Fskn. Forza's taking quite a bit of damage. Take a look at him burning from all of the damage, but he only survived with just a sliver of health. He's gonna get himself back home while the Lord slowly tramples through middle. And from how it looks like, it does seem like only the bottom and the mid will push in, while the top lane is gonna take some time while LY4 clears the way up.
And you're just gonna have to deal with that Lord, and mind you, this is a post 12-minute Lord. Fskn just trying to bring it down as quickly as possible. Super minion waves coming in from both the bottom and the top lane. RSG's main goal here definitely going to be able to take down that top tier 3 turret in the top lane. Like you said, not a problem for them, and they're just looking for a pick-off here.
While Evil C tries to go right in, he tries to play a little bit of poking damage on the main side of RSG, the main cores, but he wasn't able to get the stacks in. He wasn't able to get the main jab in onto any of one of the players, and thus he's still stuck with 2 stacks, while Forza, he's looking for more tosses, while the entire team of RSG is just going to be jumping right in the middle of everything into the heart of Fskn. Unfortunately, it does seem like Barat's just going to be completely melted down. Forza's going to be the next one in line. We've got Purple jumping right onto him, and thus the toss is going to yield to absolutely nothing. Flash to a critical amount of health thanks to the shark that is erupted by the side of Jason. They did manage to hold themselves out for the next few minutes, yes, but it does seem like closing the game is going to be relatively tough due to the fact that Fskn has got pretty good wave clear abilities.
They got a total comp going out for them, so I think that is why RSG is going to have to struggle a bit to end the game. But you've seen how much damage RSG did to the base. They pretty much cleared out all the tier 3 turrets. Even at that point in time, you had the base down to half HP on Fskn's side. So I think RSG, they're just looking for one more clean fight on the side of Fskn. Like you said, maybe 1, 2 more fights before they can really get back into the game. But at this point, it's going to be tough for Fskn. Let's just take a look at the instant replay, right? You see Evil C here, looking for a way to go in. He sticks right on top of the Isu Shin. But, not much really done there. RSG really couldn't, they didn't really face any trouble. Yes, they had 2 heroes drop onto their end, but you didn't really see a big threat of Fskn taking over the entire fight.
The base itself is going to be tough to break in. RSG didn't necessarily take a lot of kills, and thus it is not a landslide in terms of winning. RSG is mostly winning because of all of the objectives that they have gotten so far. So for Fskn, not right out of the game just yet. They have been sticking together a lot, and as you said, turtling strategy pretty much will be able to help to get them somewhere.
It'll buy time, right? Essentially buy time.
Yeah, in all due time.
But they can't step off the base because you look at the way Fskn have set their draft up. They need to stick around the Estus. They need to play around that healing and sustain that the Estus is bringing on board onto your lineup. But in terms of team fight and going out to the base, stepping out to contest for this blue and red buffs that they desperately need to have an advantage in team fights, they can't, because the moment they split up, you've got Sing that's split pushing, you have the threat of the jaw hit using the ejector to pull someone out of the rotation. So for Fskn, just having their back up against the wall. Like I said, the only way I feel that they can get back into the game is if RSG get get a bit too patient, and this might be the fight that they need. But here we have evoC trying to do as much as he can. He will have to back off Bao, being the tanker of the team, but somehow the one that's taking the most damage, and now he's got his Athena shoot up. Will it do the trick? Immortality comes into play as well. But look at RSG using brute force to come in, and that's going to be game one, going the way of the Fairies.
That is the side of RSGSG's victory, right? What we said.